Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor Walls and Ceilings and Building Enclosure, and welcome to a special Legal Insight. And I'm honored to be joined today with Trent Cotney, partner of Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Jill, it's always a pleasure.
Well, there's always exciting things going on. I love having an opportunity to talk to you because there's always great nuggets that you have to offer the contractor. And it always seems like these crazy ideas start out in California and they work their way east. And today there's no other, it's the same thing all over again. So can you tell me what you were just what we were just talking about in regards to what's happening in California and what we need to fasten our seatbelts for?
Absolutely. So, as someone that is an advocate for the industry, I am always focused on California because that is where the majority of new legislation comes that's groundbreaking, and then you start seeing it trickle down to other states. Recently, California said that it was going to enact what's known as sectoral bargaining. And for those of you that don't know what that means is they're going to create a government board, a government commission that oversees the fast food industry and regulates their wages. Okay. What causes me concern here, Jill, is, this is very similar to what I see in Europe. We belong to the International Federation for Roofing Trades. This is not atypical over there. So in addition to similar union type structures, they have government commissions that regulate wages and pay for different industries. My concern is that this is going to not just be fast food, but the next thing will be, maybe restaurants, and then after that, retail, and then pretty soon you're into construction. So obviously, the trade organizations that are aware of it are mobilizing and doing whatever they can to fight it. But it's definitely something that we want to keep our eye on because this is just the start of I think what's going to ultimately what we're going to see coming out of California.
Wow. Yeah, that's big news. Any type of board that starts with government always makes you question anything.
Absolutely.
So the next thing we were talking about that is really important for contractors to hear you mention as well is you said you had a conversation with an HR person last week. Can you tell everybody what that was about and why is it so important?
Yeah. So, this is interesting. And for a lot of people, this is going to be out there, right? But I really think it's a sign of the times. I think our use of paid time off, the way that we currently understand it, is over. And the conversation that I had with this HR person that was in construction was, she said, look, we live in a world now where a lot of people are doing, hybrid work from home, flex schedules. And the concept of PTO isn't the same. If you need to take an errand, you can do that and still work from home and still accomplish work. Yes, you need vacation. I get all that, but it's a different world that we live in. So this contractor had moved to flex PTO, which is basically you take the time as you need it. If you need 4 hours to go fix your car, you go take it. If you want to take vacation time, you go take it. Now, obviously, you've got to clear it with your supervisor. There's policies and rules and regulations that kind of govern how you do it. But what this contractor and what a lot of companies have seen is that when they enact flex PTO, what happens is the employees don't take as much vacation time. They're not gone as much because with PTO, they believe they've got to take that time off or they could potentially lose it. Or the employer could be in a situation where they're having to pay for extra days, depending on how your PTO policy is set up. So what's interesting from an employer standpoint, it's actually, at least what I've seen preliminarily, probably a benefit to employers. And it's also a great sales tool because you can attract people and say, look, we've got flex PTO. You take time as you need it. You still need to perform, but it's up to you. You're a professional. You do what you need to do. And it's very interesting. So I think what we're going to see, Jill, is I think as time moves forward, we're going to see less and less traditional PTO and a move towards this flex PTO option.
Yeah, it is interesting because I've heard that when that happens, that employees do feel like they take less time when they're on that type of program than when they earned the time. Like, let's say they started a company and they get their typical 2 weeks, and after so many years they get 3 weeks or whichever. That initially, like you said, it's a great sales tool, but I've heard that employees have said that they feel like they take less time off, even with the amount of flexibility that they have.
Yeah.
Is
And
that what this-
I really think, this is just a sign of the times. It is working from home. There's no longer any stigma associated with it whatsoever. In fact, if you're not working from home in some capacity, people are often questioning why.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you're crew, that's different, right? But office positions, that kind of flexibility, especially post-COVID, is the world that we now live in. And I don't see that ever returning back to, 2019. So.
Well, great insight, Trent. And we know that's something that everybody needs to look at as well. Anytime you can have a good sales tool to hire on new people, it's always a great thing. So it's a great
Absolutely.
Well, if anybody has any questions for you, Trent, how can they get a hold of you?
Sure. Trent.Cotney@arlaw.com is my email. I check it all the time. So email me any questions you've got.
Sounds great. And if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com, wconline.com, or buildingenclosureonline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content. We can't wait to talk to you soon. Thanks, Trent.